You know the saying, nothing is certain except death and taxes. In this video, we'll show you which celebrities neglected to report millions worth of income on their tax returns, and which ones didn't even bother filing their taxes. Join us as we take a look at which celebrities are currently facing jail time for tax evasion and who has already served their time in prison. You may be surprised who you see in this video. Let's get started. Shakira. The Colombian pop singer's hips don't lie, but it appears her numbers do. She was first accused of tax evasion in 2018. For the years between 2012 and 2014, she claimed to be residing in the Bahamas for tax purposes. But according to the prosecution, she was actually living in Spain. In 2019, Shakira testified in front of a judge that she was innocent. According to her agency, once she was informed of her tax obligation, she immediately paid what she owed, plus interest. Her appeal has been rejected by the court and a trial was ordered. She's made headlines more recently because the 3-year investigation has found that there is sufficient evidence of criminality for the case to proceed to trial. She's currently facing 6 charges alleging she neglected to pay the Spanish government nearly $15 million in taxes between the years in question. Prosecutors said they are also seeking a $24.5 million fine. Shakira turned down the plea bargain offered by prosecutors despite the fact that the trial date has not yet been set. If convicted and found guilty, prosecutors are asking the court to sentence her to 8 years and 2 months in prison. Her case hinges on where she lived during the years in which she claimed to be a resident of the Bahamas. Let's wish her the best. Wesley Snipes. The actor narrowly avoided being charged with tax fraud in 2008 after a lengthy trial in which he made excuse after excuse. He sought every possible excuse to avoid paying taxes. He blamed his advisors for giving him false information, he claimed he was a non-resident alien, and he even stated that the IRS was an illegitimate government agency. His excuses were not enough to avoid a conviction. The actor was found guilty of 3 misdemeanor charges for failing to file his federal taxes 5 years in a row between 1999 and 2004. Snipes offered to pay $842,000 to help clear his $23.5 million debt, but instead he was sentenced to 3 years in prison and fined $5 million for willfully failing to file nearly $40 million worth of past tax returns. He served his time in federal prison between 2010 and 2013. Martha Stewart. The American entrepreneur and domestic lifestyle innovator failed to pay taxes on her New York home to the sum of $220,000, claiming she shouldn't have to pay taxes on it since she didn't spend much time there. However, it isn't just about her New York home. As she was being questioned by the federal authorities, Stewart was found guilty of lying to them. She said that she had an agreement with Clone Systems to sell her shares of stock if the price ever dropped below $60, but it appears there was never any such deal. The company develops cancer therapy drugs and happens to be run by her friend. Stewart ended up selling 4,000 shares worth $228,000 the day before the company announced their drug was rejected by the FDA and their stock tanked. Coincidence? Or was this insider trading? The feds couldn't prove it was insider trading, however, they did prove she lied during the investigation. In March 2004, she was convicted of felony charges of conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and lying to federal investigators. She spent 5 months in jail, followed by 5 months of home confinement on her 153-acre estate. She was also ordered to pay $220,000 in back taxes. Toni Braxton. 2019 was definitely not Toni's best year. Just after New Year's, she called off her wedding to rapper Birdman and the pair split. A few days later, it came to light that she owed nearly $500,000 in delinquent taxes. She was the subject of tax liens from both the IRS and the state of California, totaling more than $450,000 in overdue taxes for the year of 2017. According to court documents, the artist was also the subject of overdue tax liens from 2018, totaling more than $780,000. Court records indicate she filed for bankruptcy in 1998 and 2010. The Wall Street Journal stated in 2011 that she reported $1.6 million in assets and $18.3 million in debts. That's a lot of debt. It might be safe to say that managing money isn't her strong suit. Nicolas Cage. Between 1996 and 2011, he earned over $150 million and was one of Hollywood's highest-paid actors. Unfortunately, his wild spending habits got worse as his money grew. Cage claimed his financial advisor had led him on a path toward financial ruin. Cage reportedly spent at least $33 million on rare art, pricey jewelry, dozens of specialty or historic automobiles, 4 luxury ships, and 15 luxurious properties, including 2 European castles and a deserted island in the Bahamas. In 2009, he was hit with a lien over $6 million for the delinquent taxes, interest, and penalties. He eventually faced foreclosure on several properties and owed the IRS $12.9 million in property taxes. He managed to pay off $6.2 million in 2012 and continues to take film roles to pay off the rest of his debt. Judy Garland. We all know her as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. She earned several acting awards over the span of her career, but sadly struggled with substance abuse and financial difficulties. Garland's tax debt in New York totaled $4 million in 1964. The IRS ended up foreclosing on her home, forcing her to spend years traveling from hotel to hotel before eventually dying of an accidental drug overdose in 1969. Many people probably didn't know this about her because the internet and social media didn't exist back then. If you've reached this far in the video, we would like to give a huge thank you. You can extend your support by subscribing to the channel and turning on that notification bell so you don't miss any of the content we upload. Comment down below "I subbed" for your chance to be entered into our monthly shoutout giveaway. Now on to Ja Rule. In March 2011, the rapper pled guilty to submitting false tax returns and agreed to pay over $1 million in back taxes and penalties. He admitted he did not file his taxes for 5 years and agreed to pay the government more than $1.1 million in tax obligations and penalties imposed by the IRS. During sentencing, the judge said, "Taxpayers do not have the luxury of deciding whether to comply with laws." He was sentenced to 28 months in prison and further sentenced to a year of supervised release. Stephen Baldwin. For 3 years between 2008 and 2010, the usual suspect star neglected to submit his income tax returns and make payments. He claimed his tax avoidance was not deliberate, but unfortunately, I got some really bad suggestions and advice from lawyers and accountants. A plea bargain was reached to allow the actor's record to be wiped clean if he paid back $300,000 within a year, and failure to pay that within that time frame would result in a 5-year sentence of probation, where he would be expected to pay the full amount and follow certain conditions under supervision. Lauryn Hill. According to the prosecution, the Grammy Award-winning singer-rapper neglected to declare $2.3 million in earnings over a 5-year period and owed the IRS nearly $1 million. In a statement to the judge, Hill said she had meant to pay the taxes but was unable to do so after withdrawing from public life and ending her music career to raise her children. She has 6 children, 5 of which she had with Bob Marley's son, Rohan Marley. According to documents presented during her trial while earning almost $2 million between 2005 and 2007, she did not pay taxes. She ended up pleading guilty to the charges, but fought the sentencing, asking for leniency on the grounds of her charitable work, family circumstances, and the fact that she was estranged from the music industry. Her initial 1-year sentence was then cut to 3 months in 2013 after she settled her state and federal taxes and penalties by paying back $970,000 she owed. She served her sentence at a minimum security prison where she was expected to work in the kitchen and gardens and sleep in a dormitory. After leaving prison, she remained under home confinement for 3 additional months, followed by 9 months of parole supervision. Fat Joe. The What's Love rapper was initially charged with failing to submit income tax returns on more than $3.3 million of income between 2007 and 2010. However, in 2013, he pled guilty and accepted a plea deal, so charges were dropped for failing to file for 2 of the 4 years. The rapper was granted leniency by the judge in exchange for his charitable works, which included giving computers to nearby schools, and for his payment of $718,000 in unpaid taxes prior to his sentence. He ended up receiving a 4-month sentence and a $15,000 fine, followed by a 1-year supervised release. Mark Anthony. In 2007, the singer-songwriter was ordered to pay $2.5 million in back taxes to federal and state governments after failing to file his income tax returns on nearly $15.5 million between 2000 to 2004. He claimed it was the fault of his business management company. According to an inquiry by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, 2 of his managers and 3 of his corporate entities pled guilty to various tax crimes and offenses, including failing to submit corporate tax reports to New York State and City. Anthony's tax forms were prepared by a certified public accountant, and Mark presumably believed that the returns had been submitted and that any owed taxes had been paid. As a result, the office decided not to pursue charges against Anthony. You know what they say, mo money, mo problems, and in the case of these celebrities, this was absolutely true. If you've learned anything from this video, we hope you've learned that neglecting to file your taxes and neglecting to pay your taxes are serious offenses. And if you're going to take advice from someone, please make sure they know what they're talking about. Which celebrities were you most surprised to learn about? Were you surprised by any of their sentences? Let us know by leaving a comment down below.